Hello everybody, and today I'm going to be reviewing Ice Kiss by Amanda Hocking. Let me just begin by saying that I absolutely love this cover. It is my favorite of the trilogy. The book begins with Bryn and Ridley returning home and giving the king their report of what happened while they were in the Skulljar Kingdom, and what they have to report causes the king to declare war on Victor de Lang and Constantine Black, which means that all the trackers, which include Bryn and Ember and Ridley, which means that all the trackers have to start training and preparing for war. And this is also the point where we learn that Tilda is pregnant, so she cannot participate in the war at all. Although she is going to be included, she's going to be helping them train and is sort of like a commander. Everything starts to change. They're doing repetitive training and, you know, just the stuff the soldiers normally go through before things change, because Bryn has it's kind of a dream, but the Queen of the Skulljar actually sent her a dream message. I think it's called an iris or something like that, but telling her to find her. Well, Bryn goes to her mother and finds a secret spot that Skulljar teenagers normally go to that is actually a legend, and no one can remember it once they come back, though they said they have been there. So Bryn and Ridley go to find this place and ultimately the queen, which they do succeed. And once taking her back to the kingdom, she realizes she doesn't feel safe at home, and she really doesn't want to return to the Skulljar Kingdom. So the Queen of the Cane, Mina, sends Bryn and Casper to help the guards of the Skulljar become more efficient when protecting the royal family. And one of the guards, Cyrano, actually attempts to assassinate the king, which Bryn stops in time by killing Cyrano, but it still begs the question, why was he trying to kill the king? Well, after some investigating is done, the king is actually blamed for his wife's attempted kidnapping and his attempted assassination, and the head of the guard believes that the king was paying people off to do these things so that would make him look less guilty. You really see a lot more of Prince Canet, I believe is his name, and Casper in this book, where they were just, they came in, said a couple of things, and left in the first book. They have a much larger role in this book. And once the king is blamed and imprisoned until they can find out what's going on, and if he's actually, the one that's been, trying to hurt his wife and had the failed assassination attempt put on him so that he would look less guilty, so they wouldn't think he was trying to hurt his wife. Once the king is blamed and imprisoned until he can be trialed, given a fair trial, like it's actually going to be fair, Bryn and Casper actually have to leave before they figure out who is going to be the acting monarch until the king has been proven innocent. Well, we find out after they get back and after Casper and Tilda get married that it's actually Canet that is the acting monarch, which they were hoping it would have been the queen's aunt, but the Skulljar and the Cane both they just have something against female rulers in general, unless they have a man at their side. Where, if you've read the trilogy, they do not have a problem with that. You do not have to get married to necessarily rule the people. Anyways, the day after the wedding takes place, Bryn and Casper come to the conclusion that it was Canet that was buying off the people because of, you know, he's wanted the throne. He knows his brother doesn't want the throne, and the only way he could have the throne is if he was blamed for stuff that he didn't necessarily do, and he had the guard on his side. And I don't know, really, they didn't have any evidence at all that said he was behind this, but they still go to the castle and accuse him of this, and Queen Mina sees that as treason. The very end, it's Bryn and Casper, they escape from the dungeons and they're going after Canet to try to get him to confess that he was behind everything, where Casper is ultimately killed, which I hated, and Canet goes falling out a window, which Bryn tries to save him, mostly because she wanted his confession before he died, and she wanted to know who was behind all of it, because he reveals that he isn't, there's someone higher up than him, and she's wanting to know who it is. So this story brings a lot more questions than answers. This book gave me such a headache. Such a headache. There were so many questions that were unanswered, and it's like, it's not like a normal murder mystery novel where I can pretty much figure out who's behind what and everything. I mean, technically, I was right on who was behind it all, but not the circumstances of why they were doing what they were doing. That I had no clue about, although I had an inkling. Going on to the characters, I loved Casper. I did. After we got to know him a little more while they were in the Skulljar Kingdom, which we didn't get to know him much, but we got to know him enough where I loved his character. And it made me so sad when he died and he didn't even get to know the gender of his child. And I really cried. I had to put the book down and I cried for probably about 5 minutes after reading that part. And then Canet, I kind of liked him up until the point where Bryn went to meet him at the wedding and he forcefully kissed her. I liked him until that part. And then he was just like a scumbag to me. It's like, nope, you're dead to me. And then the Skulljar King, Miko, I believe is his name. I liked him, but he's like really shy and reserved, especially for a king. So I mean, that's what made me really like him. And same, I gotta say, I didn't really like Queen Lenina, which is the Skulljar Queen, even though she's 16 years old, and you think, you know, okay, I've been 16, I can pretty much empathize with her. No, she was just very annoying. I mean, very annoying. I mean, she had a couple of good points, but overall she was just annoying. Relationship wise, Ridley and Bryn get to a very bumpy road in their relationship, because before she goes to the Skulljar to help with the guard and everything, her and Ridley actually sleep together. And if you're worried about reading this book because you think it would have too many bad parts like that, like in detail, no, I mean, it literally, the scene lasted maybe 2 paragraphs. It's not very detailed. It's just, it gives you enough for you to know that it did in fact happen, and then it gets on with the story, which I liked, but it seemed kind of cut short. It says that she woke up in his arms, and next thing you know, she's vaulting out of bed and trying to get out before he even wakes up. And it's like, it's your apartment, yet you're sneaking out. Is there something wrong with this? But anyways, the book leaves you on a serious cliffhanger, because after Casper dies, Bryn is forced to leave the Kane Kingdom and is technically on the run, because she knows that she'll be one of the most wanted once everything turns out, because she knows that they'll blame both deaths on her, both Canet and she didn't know at the time, Casper, but I have a feeling that she thought that, yes, they're going to blame me for this, I need to get the hell out of here. She's in a cafe and she's getting something to drink. And I mean, she's been on the run. She's very sleep deprived, and she hasn't been feeling like eating or anything. So she's very run down by the time 5 days have gone by. And Constantine finds her in this cafe. Well, he sits beside her and he says, "So what do you say, White Rabbit? Friends?" So it leaves you on a major cliffhanger of, okay, why did Constantine track her down? And why does he want to be friends? I mean, he's spent all this time trying to kill people and destroy the cane and the Skoljaer alike, and it's like, okay, why are you coming to me wanting to be friends? So it's like a major cliffhanger. And like I said, the book is just filled with more questions than answers. You have to go into this book having a lot of patience and willing to not know all the answers until you get to the last book. Something I did like about this book is it had like a little glossary in the back and a pronunciation guide. The pronunciation guide is something you really, really need because there's a lot of words Amanda Hocking has made up that even with the pronunciation guide, I still have problems actually pronouncing the words. But overall, I give the book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was really good. I mean, it wasn't well, actually, I think it was my favorite book out of the whole trilogy, or Chronicles, whatever. Out of all 3 books, it was my favorite. And I will most likely be rereading it because even though I just read it last week, it's like I really want to reread it again or pick up another one of Amanda Hocking's books to like get me over this. I'm seriously having a book hangover right now because of this series. But anyways, that is it for this review, and I will see you soon on my Crystal Kingdom review. Bye guys!